All right, welcome farmers, agronomists, and crop managers to today's explainer. As an agricultural expert, I spend a massive amount of time looking at exactly what goes into our soils. Well, today we're going to act as your guide and completely break down a very specific real-world document, a certificate of analysis for potassium humate. We're not just going to rattle off numbers here. We're going to translate this data into practical on-the-farm benefits. If you've ever wondered how to guarantee you're getting the absolute right potassium fertilizer to maximize your yields and really boost that soil health, you are definitely in the right place. Let's get into it.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. First, getting to know potassium humate. Then we'll dive into the core nutritional component analysis, followed by physical forms and solubility, and wrap up with quality assurance and our conclusion.
Section 1, getting to know potassium humate. Right out the gate, looking at the top of the certificate, we have batch number 2025-0216. This agricultural organic fertilizer was freshly manufactured on February 16th, 2025. As farmers, we absolutely love seeing a recent manufacturing date, right? It just ensures the product hasn't been sitting in some damp warehouse degrading for years. Plus, we've got its clear classification right here as an organic fertilizer intended specifically for agricultural application. Now, wrap your head around this number, 50,000 kilograms. This massive quantity for this specific batch highlights the serious commercial scale and availability of this soil amendment. When you're planning out your fertilizer program for the year across hundreds, maybe thousands of acres, you need to know your supplier can produce at a scale that actually meets our demands. This batch, it clearly demonstrates that capacity. But here's the kicker. Despite the massive 50,000 kilo batch size, it's packed into highly manageable 1 kilogram bags. No massive, impossible-to-move bulk sacks here. Think about your field crew for a second. When they're out there mixing fertilizer, grabbing a precision-measured 1 kilo bag is incredibly efficient. It cuts down on measuring errors and, honestly, saves a ton of backbreaking labor. Plus, we've got a solid 2-year shelf life. This is fantastic news for your inventory management. It gives you plenty of stability and time to deploy the fertilizer across multiple growing seasons. Weather delays your planting, got a little surplus? No big deal. You don't have to stress about your investment expiring before you can even use it next year. Section 2, Core Nutritional Component Analysis. Let's look at the active ingredients. Okay, this is where it gets really good. The sheer density of the active components is a real game changer. We're looking at least 55% humic acid and 50% fulvic acid alongside a minimum 12% potassium oxide. Let's break down why this matters for your fields. That 12% potassium oxide is your key potassium source, absolutely vital for plant hardiness, drought resistance, and fruit quality. But throwing potassium on the soil isn't enough. The plant actually has to absorb it. That's where those massive humic and fulvic numbers step in. They act as natural chelators. Actually, it's more like a delivery system, grabbing onto that potassium and transporting it directly into the roots, dramatically increasing the efficiency of your application. Add all that up, you get an overall organic matter content of 80% or higher. That is huge. This isn't just about feeding the plant. We are talking about feeding your soil. Consistently adding this high level of organic matter improves soil structure, boosts water retention, and really stimulates that beneficial microbial activity. You're literally building a healthier foundation for every future crop you plant. Oh, and we absolutely need to talk about the pH level. It's sitting firmly in the highly alkaline range, between 9 and 10. As an agronomist, I'm always telling farmers to watch their pH. If you're dealing with overly acidic soils, a fertilizer with a pH in this 9 to 10 range can actually help buffer that acidity and bring your soil back into a more neutral, optimal growing zone. You'll just want to keep it in mind when mixing with other highly alkaline products in your tank for sure. Section 3, Physical Forms and Solubility. Potassium humate generally comes in 3 main forms: a fine powder, distinct granules, or larger flakes. And each has its place. Powders dissolve incredibly fast, but let's be honest, they can be super dusty. Granules are great for dry broadcasting directly onto the soil. But for a massive 50,000 kilo batch we're analyzing today, the official appearance is definitively black flakes. Flakes are kind of the sweet spot for farmers. They're way less dusty to handle than raw powder, which your workers will definitely appreciate, but they still break down and dissolve incredibly well when water hits them. Which brings us to the absolute game changer for your irrigation lines. It is completely water soluble, meaning it dissolves entirely in water without leaving any of that gross, undissolved residue behind. For modern farming, this is everything. It means this potassium humate is going to seamlessly integrate into your watering systems, your drip tapes, your fertigation setups, all without clogging your expensive emitters. You get perfectly even, consistent nutrient delivery straight to the root zone.
Section 4. Quality Assurance and Conclusion.
This specific certificate of analysis comes straight from the manufacturer, Honda Technology Co. Ltd., complete with their official HD logo. Knowing exactly where your inputs come from is step one in agricultural traceability and solid quality control.
And down at the bottom, it carries the official authorized stamp and signature of Marvin Lee. So this isn't just some generic, computer-generated printout. A specific, authorized individual has actually signed their name to certify the rigorous testing of batch 2025-0216. That level of accountability gives you some real peace of mind. The final verdict. It states clearly that the quality of this organic fertilizer perfectly conforms to their strict in-house specifications. From that 12% potassium oxide needed to toughen up your crops, to the 100% water solubility you need for your irrigation lines, the manufacturer is officially guaranteeing the chemical and physical makeup of what's in the bag. Knowing exactly what is in your toolkit is the absolute first step to a better harvest. We've seen those impressive humic and fulvic numbers, the critical potassium content, and that super farm-friendly black flake format. So ask yourself, how might these very specific, high-potency metrics completely transform your soil management strategy and unlock your crop's maximum potential this growing season? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, here's to a bountiful harvest.